speech, should the occasion arise. For those who wish to communicate directly with the Queen, here's what you should put at the beginning of your letter.
Madam, or may it please your Majesty.
And at the end,
I have the honour to remain, Madam, your Majesty's most humble and obedient servant.
Many people have dreams about taking tea with the Queen. In the unlikely event of this dream becoming reality, Unity Hall and Ingrid Seward have helpful advice on how the proceedings might unfold.
The royal family and their guests still change for tea. The women take off their tweeds and put on something like a pretty silk dress, and the men, after tramping the fields all day, change into a pair of flannel trousers and a favourite cashmere pullover. There is no formal seating arrangement, so by arriving well in time it's possible to stake a claim on the seat next to Her Majesty. She has 2 tea caddies at her elbow, one containing her own royal blend and the other Indian tea. With all the implements of the afternoon ritual set in place, the Queen herself warms the teapot, considered an absolute necessity to produce a really good cuppa. When she decides the pot is nicely warmed, she pours the water she used for the job into a small basin that holds the tea strainer. A hovering page then empties this. She spoons the tea into the pot with a silver spoon and adds boiling water from her silver kettle. The Queen loves muffins, so on her left she has a shiny chrome double-sided toaster into which she pops them from a pile on a plate handed to her by her page. In the old days they used to toast them by the fire, but not anymore. Even so, it's fair to say that toasting the muffins is the only cooking the Queen ever does.
If you never get to meet the Queen, maybe you will at least get to meet a duke, or a knight, or an earl or a baronet. But even they are not always treated with the respect that befits their station in life. Here's what Sir Thomas Ingleby has to say on the subject.
The English love titles. If you can't be an Earl or Viscount, Community Advisory Officer or Customer Services Officer seems to carry almost as much cachet. There is no doubt that our understanding of contemporary hierarchy is far better than our grasp of the hereditary system that we grew up with. I once hired a car at Jersey Airport. The girl behind the desk greeted me and then asked me to hand over my driving licence. I duly complied. She painstakingly wrote down the relevant details, then handed me the keys to an almost new Ford Escort. It wasn't until I checked the paperwork a day or two later that I realised I was driving around Jersey under the pseudonym Mr. Sid Bart, a considerable but ingenious abbreviation of Sir Thomas Ingleby Bart. The Americans tend to go the other way. No matter how carefully or many times I introduce myself, I always seem to end up being introduced to third parties as Lord Inglesby. The Duke of Richmond and Gordon, then resident at Goodwood, recalls sitting down at an official banquet in the United States. The place to his right remained mysteriously vacant throughout the first course. It wasn't until he leaned across to read the place card and thus discover who hadn't turned up that he realised that his hosts had been expecting him to bring a friend. On his place card was written, "The Duke of Richmond." On the neighbouring place card, it simply said, "Gordon."
There is much controversy surrounding St George and his claim to be the patron saint of England. Some suggest he wasn't even English. The Oxford Book of Saints suggests that he was a soldier who died around 303 AD. The story of St George and the Dragon became popular in the West thanks to the Golden Legend, which was translated and printed by William Caxton. The dragon terrorised the whole of the country and could poison with its breath anyone who approached it. Every day it was appeased with an offering of 2 sheep, but eventually the sheep ran out.